The story begins with a conversation with God. Preacher Pavers is preaching on the radio. A woman calls him and confesses to the Reverend her desire to meet a man she likes, but the Reverend condemns her desire and tells her to be faithful to her husband. The Reverend receives a strange call. A lost soul with the voice of a child comes forward and complains of cold and loneliness. The boy rebukes the man for lying and introduces himself as God. Pavers puts his studio in order and has a meeting in the car with the reporter. On the way home, the Reverend talks about his life and advises the reporter not to doubt his faith in God. When the reporter arrives at the house, he marvels at its beauty and wonders how a simple priest could have so much money. Saying goodbye, the Reverend goes up to his mother's room. She listens to the record and speaks of the beauty of her second son's voice. Nolan brags to his mother that they're making a report about him. But the mother repeats like crazy that her younger son is many times better than him, which infuriates the Reverend. On the next broadcast, Nolan gets a call from a desperate woman who has decided to have an abortion. Suddenly, he receives a call from the boy from yesterday. He suggests that the man repent of his sins. Nolan is at a loss and doesn't know what to do. The Reverend gives a public speech at the supermarket where he praises the name of God. After the fiery speech, Nolan leaves the arena in a blaze of glory, where he has an unpleasant encounter with a journalist. Returning home in the heavy rain and lightning, Nolan decides to call his brother Gerald. His mother starts talking about her runaway son, and Nolan runs out of the house. While in the garage, he sees a reporter entering his house. In the car, the voice of a pestering boy is heard on the radio, reminding the man of his sins. The boy declares that he wants to give Nolan his lesson. Arriving at his destination, Nolan sets about digging up his secret. Suddenly, he sees the boy climbing a tower. Hearing the boy's voice calling him to the radio station, the man runs to the call. When he gets to the microphone, he talks to the boy. He turns out to be his younger brother, who asks him to tell him the truth. Nolan confesses that he killed him because he was jealous of his mother. The Reverend is horrified to realize that he has been on live TV the whole time. He decides to tell his listeners the story of his brother's murder. The police arrive at the grave site and unearth the remains of his brother.